Thanks so much for visiting Tina Butty on YouTube. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the Tina Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
Today's episode we're going to be talking about religion in the UK.
Dun dun dun!
Yeah, there's religion in the UK. Maybe surprising to know.
Is there?
Religion. Yeah, it's called Greg's. The House of Greg's. And Nando's.
Yeah.
Those are the two competing religions in the UK.
Oh my god. Which house do you worship at?
I think I'd do a bit of both if that was the case. But really, yeah, we're going to be talking about religion because we were having this discussion, weren't we, about religion, you know, because over here, in the southern states particularly, it's quite more religious than maybe the rest of the USA, maybe? Would you say that? I mean,
at first glance, I think yes. But yeah. I think I read somewhere or saw it on the news or I don't know where, that they did like a recent-ish study of religion in America.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't identify themselves as religious.
Oh.
Like almost a majority, I think, something like that. I could be completely making this up, by the way, but I'm sure I've heard that somewhere because I was kind of shocked. I mean, I don't know if it's true.
I mean, it's shocking because you know you grew up in a small town where there was a lot of church-going people and who I guess, Christian. Would you say Christian? Yeah. One of the denominations of Christianity.
Oh God! In small towns in Texas, that's kind of almost all you're gonna find.
Yeah.
Religious wise.
That's the only shop they can.
The only way is up.
The only way is Essex, mate.
No, I'm trying to think. In the town that I grew up in, was there like a... I'm sure there must have been like a synagogue or something somewhere, you know?
Yeah,
because I vaguely remember some kids at school talking about celebrating Hanukkah. I know this sounds so weird, you guys, but unless you've been to a small town in America, this is actual life, you know? that it's just white people. It's just like they're all Christians, you know, on the surface anyway.
Yeah.
But there must have been a synagogue, but I'm not sure where. The funny thing is, I remember, like, as a kid, a lot of people, because my grandmother was Catholic.
Yes.
And there was, like, one Catholic church, I think, in the town that I lived in. And I remember people not arguing about her, but just people arguing whether Catholicism was a Christian religion. It's like,
it's one of the oldest forms of it.
Yeah, it's like Catholicism is because I
think it might be the oldest form. I'm not sure though. Obviously don't quote me on that. But,
I think Baptist, when I was a kid, was like so popular.
Baptism, yeah.
Baptist, yeah.
Baptism is popular in the
they
UK,
just really
Baptist.
You know, I don't know. They just didn't know that many other religions.
Methodist.
Methodist, yeah, that was probably second most popular. But yeah, so apparently it would be interesting to know, actually, if you guys are I don't know if brave is the right word, but a lot of people don't like to talk about religion. If you guys are willing to let us know, it would be interesting to know whether you are religious and what your religion is.
Yeah.
Because I'm not particularly religious you know, we don't go to a church. But you know, I do believe in some sort of higher power. I consider myself a quite spiritual person. I definitely believe in like positive energy and the power of positive energy, you know, all of that kind
spiritual,
of stuff.
Yeah, spiritualism.
What goes around comes around, so like karma and things like that, what you put out there, you receive back. So it's the same thing, really. I believe in being a good person and helping other people and all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't identify with a church.
No.
And I know in Britain, I think, I mean, I have no idea. I don't know whether you've looked up statistics or not, but I think a lot of people would probably fit into that same category.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised, and I'm getting probably ahead of you in your research that you have, to find out that there is an official church of England. Anyway,
a Church of England.
It's not a Church of Britain, though, right?
No, because there's a Church of Wales and there's a Church of Scotland too.
Because you guys
which have similar. It's all pretty much a branch of Catholicism.
If you guys have listened to this podcast before, you will know that I didn't really know that much about Britain, about the UK, before I met Dominic.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, I was into the Beatles, and that was about as much about Britain that I knew about, their history. So when I met Dominic, then, I started learning all of these things, him and the people that he knew and all of this kind of stuff. And so I got to know that in the UK, religion is not such a thing. So not in the way that it is over here.
No, because, it's especially its influence on culture.
Right.
Because over here, it's been very, conservative and, Republican values are rooted in Christian morals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in, of course, there's deep-seated religious people in the UK. Mm-hmm. But it was never really, as when I was a kid and from, 30 years before, even longer than that, it's been kind of like a thing where they've kind of made fun of the church on TV.
Yeah.
Whereas that would never fly over here. No. That's why so many, I think that's why so many evangelicals and stuff can make so much money.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like, they get made fun of in the UK, those kind of
televangelists.
Televangelists, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So the televangelists meaning television preachers, basically.
Television preachers, it's like, donate to me and God will be, the
come
usual.
Come visit our church, and the church is like,
and they perform healings and all this kind of
nonsense.
The church is
like these churches are like the size of sports arenas.
They're sports arenas. They're like, stadiums.
Yeah, they're huge.
I mean, one in particular I can think of is Joel Osteen.
Yeah. My observation has been correct or not, just based on my experience with, meeting the British people that I have met, is that, Britain overall doesn't seem to be a particularly religious country. That being said, you and I, this is years ago now, we're having a discussion with your dad and a friend of his.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the discussion was or how it came to be, but you guys just started talking about being born. Oh, well, I was born Church of England, and your dad's friend says, yeah, everybody automatically is
when you're born in England, yeah.
And
you get put down for C of E.
And I was just sitting there like, what?
What's Church of England? Yeah.
Well, not what's Church of England, but just, what do you mean you're automatically born to that? What is that?
You're put down. You're put down on your birth certificate as that,
That's your religion.
That's your religion.
When you're born.
Yeah.
It's so
weird. There you go, you're talking about separation of church and state and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's mixed in Britain.
Yeah, okay, let's back up and go to some of your notes, and then we'll get a little bit more into
the UK's official religion is Christianity. I don't think America has one. It's like America doesn't have an official language.
Right.
People go, "Oh, you speak English in America." It's like, no. It's not an official language.
I mean,
so,
where is
you know,
it written? Where is it written that in the UK the official religion is Christianity? Is it written somewhere?
It's written somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, that's like
Yeah.
that's
It's like
a thing.
the UK has a constitution. There's a constitution thing, but it's not like on a parchment in the Smithsonian, you know, or the parchment in the British Museum or something. It's like that. It's like laws, you know.
Yeah.
I guess this was a law that was passed. I mean, I have to do more research on that, but it's widely accepted, and you know, it's ratified that the UK's official religion is Christianity.
Okay.
Christianity proudly sponsoring the UK since who knows when. Since Henry VIII time. Well, no, even before that,
yeah,
you know.
It would be before that.
Since the Pope, you know.
It would be since the Roman conquest,
Since the Roman conquest, yeah, I guess so. And, you know, and the UK's official language is English, you know. Mm-hmm. So there you go, you know. But over here, I don't think there's obviously not.
I mean,
there
let
shouldn't
us
be
know.
An official...
if you guys know, let us know whether this is actually written somewhere, or you know, whether we've just read this.
This is not something.
This is not the case in America, as far as I know. I don't know that it's declared anywhere that, you know, it's not America's official religion is Christianity. I don't think that's a thing in this country.
Well,
I mean,
wrong. The UK can get away with that because it's been going for years. You know, it's like whereas America was like made.
It's been on the air.
You know, the USA
longer.
was man-made, really, wasn't it? You know, it was like founding fathers.
It was man-made.
It was made in a little factory in China. Okay,
the country did not exist before men arrived, and they were like, you know what? There's a big empty space here between Canada and Mexico. This is a great place to build a country.
So gonna get made in China and put it
get the land over
and get a little French statue to put on the opening port. On the entrance. It'd be cute. Be all cute for us.
Oh my god.
No, you know what I mean. You know, it's just like the US, you know, like England just kind of, you know, like when we were talking about the founding of America, and it's like, oh, Americans have a start date for when their country was founded and everything.
Yeah.
England, you know, people in England think it's just always been England. You know, it's been Greg's and Nando's since, you know, cavemen times, you know, since the dinosaurs roamed, you know. Mm. But it's like, England, Britain, you know, countries in Europe, other countries just evolved over time, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they changed the names, they changed this and you know, but England and all that, you know, specifically the UK, you know, it's just evolved over time. So this kind of stuff has just been kind of written in. It's just like, okay, the official language is English. The official religion is Christianity.
Right.
The end. You know, that's it. And I mean, that's not to say like, okay, you can't go to the UK and practice Hinduism or Sikhism or anything like that, because they're there, you know, they've got mosques and, you know, and everything like that, you know, and they've got synagogues and, you know, Judaism and all that, and Buddhism. Those are the main other religions, you know, Islam and stuff, you know, but of course they have Catholicism, Protestant, Baptist and Methodist in the UK as branches of Christianity, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that too. It's just kind of like people, when they look at, you know, like they you know, mainly Americans, I'm guessing, would look at UK and think, oh, it's only one thing. It's only white people that live there. Only English is spoken, and only Christianity is observed, you know.
Right.
Is the main religion. Mm. And it's like, it's not really the case, really, you know. It's just that those are kind of like, you know, the stereotypes, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, historically, Catholicism pretty much reigned supreme with the Pope and everything.
Well,
you know?
yeah, I mean, they had most of Europe.
Yeah, I mean, Rome ruled pretty much all of Europe, you know, thanks to the Roman Empire and everything, you know, and then it was around Tudor times when Henry VIII's marriage to Catherine of Aragon, he couldn't get a divorce. He's like, I want to get a divorce, and the Pope, who was Clement VII, he refused to approve it. He said, no, you can't do that. And, you know, you had Cardinal was it Cardinal Cromwell, I think it was, wasn't it? Thomas Cromwell?
I think so.
Cardinal,
that sounds right.
Yeah. He was there and he was saying, oh, the Pope, you can't do this. And Henry was like, no, I'm king by God. That guy doesn't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So that's it. You know, he passed a load of laws in, like, Parliament and stuff, you know, saying, no, we're going to separate England from Rome. But the churches and stuff are going to remain Catholic. But I'm going to be the head of the church instead of the Pope.
Yeah.
And so the Church of England was born,
right.
basically. Right there. But he intended to keep it all Catholic and everything, you know. Then they had Protestant reforms of the church, you know, after he died. And then Bloody Mary went on a rampage, burning all, I think, the Catholics, wasn't it? Oh, no. It was the Protestants. I keep getting...
He's reading these from his notes, by the way.
Yeah, which come from Britannica, so... Not Wikipedia this time. It's actually Encyclopedia Britannica, you know. She succeeded to the throne, and, you know, she persecuted Protestants and stuff. And, you know, it was kind of like a bit, the Church of England doesn't exist as much until Elizabeth the First came on the scene, and she was like, okay, the Church of England's back now, you know. But he, you know, it's kind of like growing over time, you know, the independent Church of England. And it's like,
yeah, people had a problem with it at the time because Catholicism was the thing to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's maintained the episcopal form of government, you know. It has Episcopal, that's it, sorry. You know, it has divided into two provinces, Canterbury and York, so you have the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Archbishop of York, but the Archbishop of Canterbury is like, it takes precedence over York.
Okay.
And, you know...
If you guys have never seen, like, if you've ever watched The Royal Wedding, any of the royal weddings recently...
The Archbishop of Canterbury... marries them.
Well, if you've seen them, if you know anything about Catholicism, you will recognize the similarities. I mean,
it's
Catholicism.
It's Catholicism without
Rome.
It's Catholicism without Rome, and it's also without the priests can get married, I think.
The vicars.
Yeah.
They don't call them priests.
Yeah, they call them vicars.
Yeah. But it's interesting because you do all the kneeling. Right?
Everything is pretty much the same, and that's what Henry intended when he said, "Oh, they're going to remain Catholic, but I'm in charge. You know, I'm the head of the church and all that. You know, I'm the Pope.
I'm the Pope, basically. Yeah. Without
and
being
it's separated
called the
from Rome, so they can't say what we do.
Right.
Basically forming his own religion at the end of the day, you know, but keeping it the same.
It's so interesting because I just didn't know any of that. And
it's just like Britain to bloody do that, isn't it? And it's like calling itself Great Britain to start with, you know, on a cartographers will call itself Great Britain. You know, it's like Germany, France, all them. They never call themselves Great France or Great Spain or Great Germany. But Britain's like, yeah, it's Great Britain. Mm-hmm. Yes, and we're going to have our own religion too because we're so great.
Yeah.
You know?
So I wonder if it happened with Henry VIII then, that they decided, like, okay, everyone who's born on this island, who's born in this country, is automatically a member of the Church of England. Because it probably has something to do with control then, maybe?
Yeah, it was like, oh, you're automatically a Church of England goer. So, you know, I mean, I never, my parents weren't religious. My grandmother was.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, Church of England, Church of Scotland, whatever she was, you know, it was.
Yeah. Is the Church of Scotland the same thing?
Just Scottish accents.
It's just Scotland.
It's the same thing, but there's like a little bit of a difference, I think, but I'm not really sure what the difference is. Like the laws or whatever, you know, like the customs or whatever, the practices.
Did you ever attend a service in Scotland?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the same thing.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
What about in Wales? Do you know?
I think there's a Church of Wales, but I mean it's the same thing. England, whatever England does, Wales eventually does too. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they roll it out.
Because in Ireland they are Catholics, aren't they?
Ireland is
Irish
mainly Catholic. It's Catholic and Protestant is like, you know, that's the source of the troubles in Northern Ireland, I think too. I mean, mainly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously the British Army and everything being there stirred up so much, you know, thing, but mainly there was a religious element to it too, you know.
So the Church of England has maintained the episcopal form of government.
The episcopal form, yes.
Yeah, so that's why, like, oh, you're automatically... It's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah, because I remember seeing my...
What do you do? Do you have to go, actually, I don't believe in the Church of England. I want to be, you know...
yeah, you can change your religion.
Lutheran or whatever.
Yeah, you can say, oh...
Do you have to go somewhere to do that? I mean,
I'm guessing. I imagine so.
That's so.
I think it's
strange.
kind of like it's like a coverall basis thing. I mean, you know, you see a V.
Yeah.
But it's like.
So if you
what does that mean?
So if you die, let's say, and you don't have any family or anything like that,
you're gonna get get buried in a church if you wanted to.
They'll just probably maybe automatically do that. Give you like a Church of England like burial.
Yeah.
Or cremation or whatever.
And I mean that's
because most people in Britain are cremated also, aren't they?
Yeah, most of them are. And you can do whatever you want. You don't have to be buried in a churchyard or whatever.
I think that's different because I don't think that's different from Catholicism because I don't think Catholics believe in cremation. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't think that they do. But, you know, I could be wrong.
Obviously, if you're going to be into Islam or Hinduism or Sikhism, because there's a lot of Sikhs in Britain, Judaism, you know, obviously a lot of Jewish people in Britain.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Buddhism, it's, you know, you're not C of E.
Actually.
It's like if you're born Jewish, it's like, you know.
But what I want to know is, do you have to go somewhere to declare yourself, you know, Jewish or whatever, you know?
I don't know.
You don't know, yeah. No, you say there's a lot. In a 2016 survey, and this is from Wikipedia, by the way, in a 2016 survey conducted by British Social Attitudes on religious affiliation, 53% of respondents indicated no religion. So that's
like
over
the Van Morrison song. That's why there's no religion.
That's over half of the population, though. 53, that's a lot. 53% of respondents indicated no religion. 41% indicated that they were Christians, while 6% were affiliated with non-Christian religions like Islam,
I mean, it's
Hinduism.
still, I mean, those are still the minority religions
6%,
in the UK.
That's not very much.
And, you know, they're probably all around, you know, the same kind of areas and stuff like that, you know.
But for 53% of the population to say that they are not religious, I think it's really interesting that you guys do religious things in school, don't you?
Well, the thing is, you kind of freaked out, didn't you? When I told you about that I was in primary school.
Go ahead and talk about that, because American listeners are going to find this really odd, because this is not happening over here.
When we'd have an assembly, we would say, "Let us pray."
Right.
And it was like you didn't get the option to kind of like opt out of that or anything, you know.
Right, and these are public.
I mean, nowadays probably you would, but back in the early 90s, you know, before and pre-early 90s, you know, no. These are public schools. These are
no religious affiliation, like
no religious affiliation. No, I mean because I mean at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it's Christianity is the thing here, you know. So you know, like I'd be like 5 or 6 or whatever, going into assembly or whatever, primary school, and they go, "Let us pray," and then we'd have to sing, and it would be like religious songs, like "He's got the whole world in his hands, he's got the whole wide world," and you know,
that kind of stuff would only happen at Sunday school in a church over here,
and we'd sing all that kind of stuff, and you know, that kind of freaked you out, because it was just kind of like, well, you know, that's not separating church and state, and it's like, well, it hasn't really worked out well over here, that, because, you know, now, you know, like 50, as you said, 53% of people don't consider themselves religious, and they probably had to go through the same thing in school.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're not religious, because they're just like, oh, if I have to sing about he's got the whole world in his hands and, whatever.
So it's funny because, doing that, like opening the school day with a prayer, singing religious songs, even the wearing of school uniforms.
It wasn't like
that's like a thing that only happened. I associate that with Catholic school uniforms.
I will say this, right? I personally didn't feel like it was beaten into us. Like people say they go to like these like religious schools and the priests and the nuns are beating it into your head every day about God and whatever, and that never happened. I never felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were kids. It was a growing up talking. If they were going on about God, we were just like, like God, making jokes or whatever.
Is there any sort of religious teaching in school in Britain? Like,
oh yeah, religious education.
Oh,
we had that, but again, that was religious education.
So
that was educating you about every religion,
all the religions. Okay,
all the religions.
That's cool. Yeah, I we don't have that in America, and unfortunately, I mean, I took
when I talked to you about RE or religious studies, I think it was called, or they call it something else now, but it was called RE, religious education, when I was, and that was in high school for me, and we were taught about everything. I remember my teacher, Mr. Campion. He was really good at it. He's like, okay, we're talking about, the Reformation or whatever, or we're talking about Sikhism or whatever, it would be, obviously there would be a bias on, Christianity because that was the main religion, the official religion, as you were.
Right.
But, we'd learn about Hinduism and what, and Sikhism, why they had to wear the turbans and everything.
I think that's fabulous. I mean, I took that class in college.
I don't remember.
I
mean, it was just kind of like, there you go,
K through 12 school. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it is over here, but yeah, you say it's separated.
Separation of church and state doesn't exactly mean what everybody thinks it means.
Yeah.
I'll look it up really quickly. According to Wikipedia, the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Oh, there you go then.
There you go, yeah. So we don't have an official religion of this country. Basically, Congress shall make no law.
Yeah.
So that's what it means. Basically, Congress can't make any laws regarding religion. They're two separate things. It doesn't as far as I know, it doesn't mean that you have to keep religion out of
teaching,
schools, but you can't force anybody to study religion or practice religious beliefs,
The first time I remember, I was in high school, it was in secondary school, we went to an assembly, and there was this girl, I think her name was Kaylee, I can't remember, but she was a Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to be excused from thing because, there might be a teaching, that she didn't agree with or whatever. But I remember once she was, and we were like 11 or something, and she was hardcore into it,
Mm-hmm.
and they talked about Jesus or whatever, they talked about something. And when as we were going out, I remember the teacher going, "I'm sorry, Kaylee," or whatever, to her, and she just had this look on her face, like, like,
how dare you?
How dare you? It was like a very and I was like, oh, what's all that about? And then someone's like, oh yeah, she's a Jehovah's Witness, so she doesn't agree with all this Christianity, bits and pieces,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the only time I remember them being like, oh yeah, we have to separate her from assemblies and stuff like that, because she can go do whatever. And
when I was in choir in like 7th grade, I think it was, I remember that we had a Muslim girl in our choir, and this was here in Austin, and we were singing some song. It wasn't like I don't know. It wasn't like a churchy kind of song, but I can't remember what it was about. But there was some sort of reference to God in it, and so she chose not to sing, or her parents told my choir director, she's not going to sing this song or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember there was no kind of like, there was no issue. It was just like, okay,
issue.
yeah, she just steps down then and steps away when we're singing this song, and then comes back for the next song. Whether that would have happened up in the Texas Panhandle, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, this was Torquay that I was in. Like, I mean, that was how it was. Really. I mean, I don't remember anyone making a fuss about religion or anything like that when I was a kid, except for that one thing.
Yeah.
Everybody just listened to it. It was just like, like I said before.
Yeah.
They either liked it or they didn't, and that's
liked it or lumped it.
Liked it or lumped it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, you guys, for my cough. I don't know. I'll get over this eventually. Yes. Anyway, I think we are out of time. We could probably go on about this.
Yeah, we could. We could go on about this.
We could go on about most things, though. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yes.
We're talkers, hence the fact
we're
that we have a podcast.
We're talking to you. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Yeah, we appreciate you tuning in twice a week and listening
twice
to us
a week.
Jabber.
Your dedication is admirable.
If you would like to help support us, you can share our podcast with your friends, your family. Just help us spread the word. And
thank you to those who have shared it with everyone. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we definitely do.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's it.
We'll see you next time.
We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.